I'm Josh, and I'm a codependent.
And I am Jeff, and I am a codependent.
We are enough.
We deserve happiness, and we take control of our lives today. Damn it, did it again.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ritual Chamber. I am Josh and this is Jeff, and today we are going to be giving our take on Renfield.
Renfield, yes. Yes.
Nice, there we go.
After a century of serving as Master Dracula, Renfield has grown tired of his abusive nature and tired of killing in the name of evil. Using a support group for people in abusive relationships to target new victims, Renfield is entangled in an unlikely hero role while trying to help a young police officer find justice before the Master grows to full strength.
Oh, very nice. I like that synopsis. That was
done. Fucking
that was
one take wonder.
One take
wonder. Didn't stumble once. So yeah, let's get into it because I almost tapped out on this one. I kind of just wasn't sure about going to go see it.
No, I know. I feel like I really had to like drag you out to go see.
You did a little bit.
And,
like I kind of like just I saw the trailers and I'm down for Nick Cage as Dracula to see like the incomparable Nick Cage and his masterful acting. I say that sort of with a wink and a nod because, yes, he is a master actor, but he's fucking Nick Cage.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's let's be honest with Nick Cage. I mean, before we really like kind of go into the rest of it, like he's done some really fucking bad movies.
Oh no, but that's what I was getting. I was getting at. Like he's an amazing actor,
right? But then,
just has done shit movies.
You think about like Wicker Man, right? Where like he's running around in a bear suit and he like is kicking people in the face. Like it fucking makes no sense. Like
not
what?
The bees.
Yeah, not the bees, you bitches. Like I mean, like it's fucking weird, right?
It's actually not a bad movie, and it's a remake, but whatever.
But I mean,
like there's 8 billion direct to DVD Walmart bargain bin
Nick Cage movies. Yeah.
But like wanting to see his take on Dracula, I was excited for it.
Yes, 100%.
And I do love Nicholas Hoult a lot. So,
yes.
Like I think he's actually a really, really good actor and actually really underutilized in a lot of
in
the industry in Totem.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's really, really good. And he's done a lot of really good things. Mm-hmm. But the John Wick aspect of it, I kind of wasn't there for.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of, I was like, do I want to wait for streaming or do I just never get around to seeing this? But then,
I was very persistent in saying like Renfield, let's do it. Because let's just do something different.
Yeah,
and I kind of wanted to break the mold.
And I do love a horror comedy.
Yeah. And so, I think even though I really wanted to see this, I didn't go in with the highest expectations about it. But, overall, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. I actually was pleasantly surprised. I was glad I did decide to go.
Yeah.
You have no idea. It was down to the wire. I was about to tap out.
So, this movie, I thought, based off the trailers, right, it does give a sense about where the plot is going. But
for sure, the trailer gives you exactly what it is. It's a horror comedy following Renfield and Dracula, and there's some action.
Yes,
there's some Fast and Furious style action in there.
Yes, but the one thing that I think with this is the plot was actually a little bit more developed than what I thought it was going to be. Based off the trailer.
In certain instances, it was a little bit overdeveloped, and I'll touch on that later.
And that's true, and I agree with you in that aspect. But I was surprised to see that they were actually able to make more of this than what I thought it was going to be.
There's definitely a lot more. At a
glance, I was like,
a lot more that I didn't expect. But in some of those things I didn't expect, got a little bit overcooked.
Yes, 100%.
Which is fine. I'd much rather something be slightly overcooked than a fully overblown or like just completely swept under the rug.
Last thing you want to do is end up with salmonella.
Precisely.
So
and how much raw chicken I've eaten in my life.
So overcooked is not necessarily always a bad thing.
I'm a terrible cook. What are you trying to say?
So getting into Nicholas Hoult in this movie.
Yeah. Titular character.
fantastic. I mean, I just, like you said, I agree with you completely. He's a completely underutilized actor in the industry. He always, for some reason, plays like like a bit role or like a side character. You know what I mean? But
sort of. I mean, he did play Tolkien in the Tolkien movie.
Well, okay, but like Mad Max Fury Road, right?
Yeah.
Like Beast in X-Men. He's always kind of a supporting.
He's yet to really be a lead. Oh no, but he was also in Warm Bodies. He was the zombie in Warm Bodies.
Okay, but
he basically plays the exact same role here.
We're splitting hairs. But
did you notice that he basically plays the same role here?
Yes.
Other than from being a zombie, being like a half vampire familiar.
But in this movie, I think this was, this movie was he was the main character, and I thought he was utilized very well, and he really got to show his acting chops, and I really enjoyed.
Oh, he was wonderful.
His character. It was great.
His stammering and being very, especially in the opening scenes, and him and Nick Cage redoing scenes from the 1931 Dracula. That was one of the coolest moments, because they literally like shot it exactly. Even though I think Nicholas Hoult is actually playing Jonathan Harker, but either way, that's still really fucking cool. Putting it all in black and white, and looking exactly like the old Universal 1931 Dracula. That was really freaking cool. Mm-hmm. Even the looks on his face was very like 1931. Like he was really overhamming it. With the way actors did back then, but I thought it was really, really cool. But yeah, him stammering and the way he would kind of play that, I don't want to say dumb, but like that sweet innocence.
Yes.
That kind of, that he had a lot of the times of, not knowing, like, I don't know when
well, I think it's
when he's saying he's Kate's friend to go kill the three guys.
Yeah. It's a level of ignorance that like comes with probably living in seclusion, being a familiar to Count Dracula.
Exactly.
But he did it very well.
And even his awkwardness with Awkwafina, which I must say, I have not liked Awkwafina, but this movie actually, and what was the last movie we saw her in that I really enjoyed her in?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I'm actually like really becoming an Awkwafina fan. I really enjoyed her.
Surprising.
I thought she was really adorable and like endearing in this movie. But
yeah, I thought she was good in this.
I don't want to immediately jump onto Awkwafina because I don't really have much else to say other than that about Awkwafina's character. Mm-hmm. But so we can stay on Nick Hoult for a minute. But I just I just had to say that his interactions with her and it being kind of cutie, kind of meet cute-ish, and you kind of get the sense that like they're kind of having an attraction, although they never really go there, which was kind of a little bit of an undercooked moment. Undercooked plot.
I actually like that though. That's where I think this worked for me.
We'll save that. We'll save that. But it's just something to touch on. It's just kind of like you kind of think that it's romantic, and at first it is, and I think it makes sense as to why it doesn't really go there fully. Yeah. And I appreciate that for not like fully forcing it as like, you have to have it be a love story. I've harped on it before. Well, how do you have a movie? You don't have a love story. Yeah. But that was cool. But his interaction with her was really cute and like awkward and kind of fun. And even in his like you said, like being kind of isolated and dealing with a support group and trying to explain his situation without really being able to say like, oh yeah, I served Dracula.
Yeah. And I really liked.
The best moment is when it's like, he won't go to full power. Yeah, you won't go to full power. Whoa, that's weird. Why would you phrase it that way? Yeah. That's so funny.
And like another great moment was obviously him coming into his own. Yeah. And kind of just like finding his own character in the modern world and getting his apartment and his, and obviously when Nick Cage comes in later and he goes in his old studio apartment. Like, and it's just, I don't know, like his acting was on point for this. He had the perfect balance between like the comedy, having that silliness with the goofiness and kind of like, with formulating the love story more or less.
We'll call it that.
But then also
the meet cute story.
Just his overall action and when he had to get serious and play that
Well, he's got a lot of physicality.
Domineering character.
Yeah. He's got a lot of physicality.
Yeah.
So, especially playing the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And I think he's done other things that, so I don't know his entire filmography, but
yeah.
I know he's done other things that have required him to be a little more physical.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dude's got an athletic body, so
100%. And I think like just the perfect balance, he was able to display that throughout his role in this entire movie, and he did it very well.
Now I gotta say, like as I mentioned before, the John Wick aspects were not my favorite going in. Like I wasn't like looking for that. It's just sort of not my thing. Like we love Marvel movies here and the DC movies and comic movies in general, which do require a lot of fighting. But that over the top one man army type of action movie thing doesn't really do it for me. In the 80s when it was like John McClane, but like he was getting his ass kicked most of the movie.
Yes.
That works for me. Like where they just kind of through sheer luck and determination get through.
Kind of like all of the Punisher.
Exactly. But like the one guy, the one man killing machine, that doesn't really do it for me. Like the one who like you put in the God mode code and like they just whoop everyone's ass. Like literally there's a million dudes firing bullets at him.
And in this movie, the God mode is bugs. Which I was going to try to do some research on, and I completely forgot if that was actually even a thing.
No.
Okay, so I think something that they introduced in this movie. Okay.
I think the idea was that in the original Dracula that Renfield did eat bugs because he was in an asylum and he just ate bugs.
Okay.
Bugs. He just ate bugs. That was they didn't give him any special powers. He just ate bugs.
Okay,
anyway.
That's interesting. Sounds supposedly it's a healthy diet. So
yeah, well, a lot of protein.
Yeah, a lot of protein. So
no wasted energy. On
no wasted energy. So yeah,
self-sustainable.
Really quickly, I mean, I do agree with you. I don't think I was a huge fan either of hers. I did like her in Shang-Chi. But in this movie, I thought she did a lot of what she did in Shang-Chi, but it wasn't...
she wasn't fun girl in this one.
It wasn't overbearing.
Yeah.
I felt like. It was a little bit more grounded.
She wasn't fun girl in this one. She was I wouldn't say rookie cop, but she was a cop who's kind of been held back because the police system, or the justice system in New Orleans is very corrupt, and they're kind of all being bought out by the mob.
The Lobos.
Nice. And she's just sort of been held back because of that, because she's a clean cop and she's a straight shooter. And she played that just really well. It's kind of very like to the point, and like I'm on the beat, I'm a cop, this is my job, and this is all I don't want to say all I really care about, but like this is kind of my focus. And she's a single woman in New Orleans, and who's just, her career is her life, and that's just all she is. She's just kind of, but she's funny and endearing, and like she has a lot of funny lines about what's the one she has about when you say like I've seen worse, this is gonna be my worst.
Like, I love that. That was a good one. After the raid on the apartment. Yeah. and
it's great.
No, that was a great scene. So I do not.
There's not really many characters in this movie to really talk about, but we will save the best for last. So we do want to talk about the mob a little bit. So we have...
I do want to talk about Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz is Ted Lobo.
Yeah, so...
It's Tedward Lobo, by the way. For my IMDb, it's Tedward. I don't think they ever actually call him Tedward in the movie.
Okay.
I think they just always call him Teddy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But Tedward. I love.
I've only really known him from Parks and Rec, where he plays Jean Ralphio, which I really like that character. And he kind of brought that same energy to this movie with that same character.
He also voiced Sonic the Hedgehog in the Sonic movie.
I was not aware of that. But his time on screen was really enjoyable. I liked his character. I liked his silliness and kind of goofiness.
You know what was funny about him? He was exactly what Jared Leto's Joker was in the Suicide Squad movie. That's exactly the vibe. The exact same vibe.
I completely agree. I see it.
The vibe, not like.
Oh, the vibe, like the nice car.
You know what I said before about Jared Leto's Joker was that like he was the idiot mob, like the mob's son.
Yes.
Who,
okay.
Like, do you know who my father is?
Yeah.
That's who this dude was. No, and it was awesome. And it was awesome because it wasn't the Joker. Like.
Yeah, because it wasn't trying to take itself serious, and obviously by bringing in.
Don't even try to
Ben
pronounce
Schwartz,
her name.
they weren't trying to make him a serious character. But then kind of, when he forms the alliance with Count Dracula, kind of comes in like he's the badass.
Which you called.
Yeah, which I said. I told him, I was like, he's going to become the new familiar. And so it was, it was good to see that play out on screen. But I do want to give him a shout out because I really enjoyed his character in this movie. I think he added another dimension that this movie would not have worked without. No,
not at all. Well, because you kind of need, with a movie that's action heavy, you needed a final battle, so you needed someone that was kind of, that wasn't against Dracula because Dracula would just automatically be too powerful, whatever.
Exactly.
So, but you needed to have like that extra familiar, which you called in the movie. Yeah. I was way off. I was like, Samsonite, I'm way off. I literally said to Josh, like, no, not at all. He's going to kill him. And then like, nope, yeah, Josh was totally right. And then the other time you were wrong was like, oh, the mom, when he's going to talk to the mob boss, that's going to totally be someone, and like, maybe, a horror icon. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, etc. But no, it was Shorey. I don't know how to pronounce her name, and I'm sorry, but Bella Francisca Lobo. She's been in a ton of stuff, but it's like she's kind of been she's kind of been an actress that you've seen in things. Mm-hmm. She's that girl from that thing. Like, she's nothing that you like really remember.
Yes.
But she was awesome. I love her little like kind of raspy.
Mobster
voice.
And I think she plays the part of being like a dominant female very well.
Yeah.
Like, just her presence
to just run a corporation.
Yeah, like it's like it was not believable.
Yeah,
like
no,
you see her, come out of the car and you realize like that she's controlling the police force, and she's like kind of puts her hands up as she's like, oh, like, hey, if you want to shoot me, but like,
yeah, exactly.
She had this like very good power play and this very like good display of dominance that made her character believable as someone that could be in the position.
Now I'm glad you just mentioned that, because that's one thing I do want to touch on before we get into like kind of other things we felt about it, or we'll talk about Nicolas Cage specifically. But the idea that this is sort of a missed opportunity, but I get it, because it is sort of over the top, like I said, kind of ideas overcooked.
Yeah.
Was the entire police force being bought out by the mob.
Yes.
And being there to ambush them at a certain point with the mob like in tow, and like standing out in the middle of the street like with the mob, like, and it's cops going like, hey, like, just hand him over and you can be promoted, like, to Awkwafina's character, Rebecca, and be like, you can be promoted, and like the chief of police going like, yeah, like, this is what you've always wanted. What it should have just been the partner, and then like the partner like turn her in, not the entire police force show up and be like, we're all dirty.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with that. I mean, it was kind of akin to like Gotham.
Yeah.
Where like, you have Jim Gordon and I can't remember his partner's name in Gotham, but basically Bullock. Yeah. Basically against the entire police force that they're
which in Bullock was he also even dirty?
Yes, exactly. So I do agree with that. Dirty. I do agree with that.
Like, cause when the partner turned on her, it's like, okay, like, oh, that sucks. Like, you seem like a nice guy. And even though I kind of saw it coming, because when she goes, oh, did you call it in? He goes, yeah. Like, no cop goes, yeah, I called it in.
Yeah.
But like, it should have just been that he turned on her, and then like, maybe obviously some other cops were dirty, but we're not in a police procedural. Like, that's not this movie. You don't need that.
Yeah.
But just the partner turned on her and blah blah blah. Whatever. Again, like, ideas that were kind of overcooked a little bit and a little bit too much in your face. But then you do get the awesome apartment building
sequence
where he kills
fun. Yeah.
90% of the mob enforcers and like the entire SWAT team.
So that brings us to obviously Nick Cage.
Of course.
And I mean, it's weird with Nick Cage because, as we talked earlier, kind of about like, you could find some of his movies in like straight to DVD bins and things like that, or straight to streaming.
A solid 90% of his movies.
This was like, but this is one of those roles that he picks up that like, I just love that his like willingness to just go for it. And like fully invest into a role, like whether he believes in the movie or not, or whether he thinks it's going to be successful or not.
I think he honestly believes in every single movie he's ever done.
Like, I just think he just likes acting, and in this, I mean, he fucking killed it.
And for that, a round of fucking applause, because I mean, slight aside. Speaking of it, we're talking about an actor who literally did a movie called Willy's Wonderland where he does not speak one line the entire movie, but he kicks ass in it because he does things with facial expressions and how
he's such a good actor.
Yeah.
That and I think
don't get me wrong, I love that movie to death, but it's a little cheesy and
no,
stupid.
for sure. And I mean, a lot of things that he has done have been that way. Especially into his later years of acting.
Of course. But think about great movies he's done. Sleepless, not Sleepless in Seattle, I'm sorry, City of Angels, The Rock.
Con Air. Face Off.
Yeah, Face Off. Family Man.
Leaving
Leaving Las Vegas. The man is a fucking master.
Fantastic actor.
The man is a master.
And so I just think, for me, what I was really excited to see in this movie was him play this role of Count Dracula.
Yeah.
And he just nailed it. It was so good. Like, just the whole personification of it.
And especially his world domination mission and his
yes,
explanation of
just his Nick Cage-ness about it just made it so...
Yeah.
It was, every scene that he was in was so enjoyable because it was a little bit between, like you said, there was a little comedy and then there's that seriousness and there's that like dominance showing. Like he was just able to play the role so perfectly, and I really enjoyed his screen time.
Again, you ever seen Face Off? Castor Troy, just make him a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. He's right there.
Right there.
And it was just great,
Yeah.
So
and like I have to say one thing I loved, because I thought it was like, all right, we're gonna get like kind of chintzy, and then he's gonna be Dracula, and he's because when I first saw the like set screens shots of like him being on set. He did kind of have a very Joker-esque suit and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, he's just going to be kind of like very jokey and stuff. But that first scene when he first shows up in it after when he's regaining his power, those are some of the coolest creature effects I've seen in a while.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like they're in a basement of an abandoned hospital, which is sort of weird because like a giant hospital like that wouldn't just like stay there forever. For a very long time, maybe I don't know.
They do. They have.
Okay, fine, whatever. I don't live in Louisiana, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking Midwest, South.
Yeah,
I
guess so.
There was
I guess so. But with like all the blood bags kind of like splayed out.
Oh yeah.
It almost kind of looked like organ pipes.
Yeah.
And it looked really really cool. And then he had this very Phantom of the Opera-esque Dark Man.
Yes.
Melting skin, kind of regrowing back, and with still the very cartoon Halloween costume cape.
Yeah,
which I thought was really fun.
And
but
a weakened stance.
Yeah, and a weakened stance, and sort of like having to hobble over everything. And then wanting a busload of cheerleaders. Busload. Excuse me, did you say busload?
Yeah.
Yes, I said busload.
And just like watching his progression though throughout it, and like you said, going back to the introduction of this movie, seeing him recount those roles of the old Dracula films, like just doing that well, but giving it his own touch too, just adding his own little touch
just
to everything that he's done.
He is really mirroring Bela Lugosi at that point.
For sure.
And even the same thing with Nicholas Hoult mirroring Dwight Frye, the original Renfield. Like they're mirroring and like they're doing like this so hammy like 1931 silent film way, and it's so cool as like an old Universal Monsters, I mean not silent film because those weren't silent, but old Universal Monster fan to see that kind of redone, even still done in black and white, but just redone by different actors and trying to be as faithful to it as possible. Yes. That's really cool. It's a really cool homage.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Homage.
But yeah, I mean, Nicolas Cage in this was just, I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And just kudos to him to like still just, obviously he loves his craft.
Of course.
And it shows in this because, this is why I wanted to see this movie. And it made it very worthwhile outside of the other things that I thought were good about this movie.
Yeah.
So that being
most
said,
of it that I thought actually was really good.
One thing I actually did really enjoy about this that you kind of said earlier that you didn't like, I really enjoyed the fight choreography.
Oh no, the fight choreography actually was really good. It was a little bit messy.
Of course, and I think that was kind of what they were going for a little bit.
And not messy as in bloody. In fact, actually one of my big downs of it was that consistency of blood was very loose.
Yes, no, absolutely. There were certain scenes, I think one in particular where
he's fighting the guy with the severed arms.
Yeah.
And there's blood. It shows blood spraying everywhere, but there's no blood to be found anywhere around it.
Yeah. And I think there was another one too where where he jumps on the guy off the rail, and then the blood looks super CGI. Where like the rest of it did not.
Yeah.
So it's like there was some inconsistencies there.
Well, not to mention Awkwafina gets like a little like flick of blood on her face, instead of like
a full like gush. Yeah. After like jumping completely on somebody that's falling off of a rail.
But that was a fun scine too, because he's slow motion.
Is he waving at her? Yeah. And that was out of all, there was a ton of good fight choreographies in this movie, but my favorite was obviously the raid on the apartment, because
my favorite was actually the one in the bar.
It was so over the top with certain things, like the fact that he rips off that guy's arms and then uses them to impale people.
Okay.
Like it just was, I was just like, what is going on in this? But yeah, I just just silly fun kind of things that you would love to watch in a movie sometimes.
Even the end when they finally dispatch Dracula, or do they?
Yeah, or do they? Yes.
It's actually not quite clear. I mean that sincerely, because it's actually not entirely clear. In fact, at one point they make cement ice cubes.
Yeah, I
don't know what that was.
Yeah, even to the point where the narration clarifies that we don't know if we put them away for good, but
to use cocaine as the sacred circle. Yes. And then so they set up that the mob has like this dungeon area full of like medieval weapons and like just all kinds of instruments
of
dispatchment.
Torture.
And I kind of thought it was going to lead into like maybe the mom being a vampire, like being another vampire, and like maybe. It just seemed like, because it looked very like cathedral. But then they live in New Orleans. There's a lot of
there is a lot of that in New Orleans.
But so like, okay, maybe, but then they just start wailing on him with all these weapons, and that was like they're like, what are we gonna do? And they look around, and there's all these weapons around, and they just start wailing on him. And the voiceover says, turns out we don't actually know how to kill a vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wailing on him and trying everything.
And I mean, like, I think they did like acid and holy water and like
the cement ice cubes, which I don't even know exactly how that was supposed to work. And then they bring back the support group with
Dracula's blood, which was great.
They established that Dracula's blood can heal any wound. And they're like, we've seen some shit, because they've clearly been dead for about a week.
Yeah, and I think the support group, before we get into them, just to kind of like give them a shout out.
Yeah, wrap this up.
One of the scenes that I really liked in the fight choreography for this was when they did the Mortal Kombat X-ray scene where
that was against our boy Teddy.
It was, and I loved that, as you see him getting kicked, and everything from his bowels, everything from his midsection going out this way or out that way, and I just thought like. It was like
I did burst out laughing.
I instantly thought like Mortal Kombat, and then as soon as I saw the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is. It was just over the top,
super over the top,
and it wasn't. It wasn't necessary for the movie, but I loved that they put it in there.
And it wasn't a gross out. Like, it wasn't like...
it was just
you didn't see poop.
Yeah, it was just fucking funny. It was like,
it was hilarious.
Man, this is
I
a
did
good
burst
scene,
out laughing.
So yeah, I do want to give a shout out to obviously the support group. I don't know any of those actors that played those roles.
The one girl who kept getting
cut off.
I've recognized her from a few things, but I didn't look it up, and I can't think of it right now.
But I thought they all played good support roles in this.
The guy who runs the support group, he had a lot of fun.
Yes,
he was not had a lot of fun. He probably had a lot of fun making this film, but he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really liked.
That's so weird. Why would you phrase it that way?
Yeah, and he had a lot of good like scenes when he started to realize like, oh shit, like what he's talking about is actually like it's real.
When Dracula comes in.
And so I thought that was good. But
one last quick thing I want to touch on, or just mention, that I thought was really, really cool was the way Dracula could transform into smoke and bats, and the way they would utilize it. It was like he would just needed to teleport real quick, so he'd transform into like a a quick swarm of bats and then back down.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool because it kind of reminded me of Legacy of Kain a little bit. And
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we want to go ahead.
Let's get into our
Let's go ahead and get into monkeys for Renfield.
Yes.
So as always,
As always,
I will start first. So I'm gonna give Renfield an 8 out of 12.
Okay.
Just to, for me, I didn't have a lot of expectations going into this, and it exceeded my expectations more than what I was thinking it was going to. And this was just a lot of fun. I mean, there was some silliness in this that I thought, and there were points in this movie where I did think it dragged a little bit, where it didn't need to.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I think that kind of with a movie of this concept, it's difficult because it was an hour and 33 minutes, so it's actually a fairly short movie, realistically.
Yeah. It was proper movie time.
But there were some parts where I was just like, I don't know if I'm feeling this right now, and kind of what they were, where it was going, and but overall, I did really enjoy this movie. If they do decide to do another iteration of this, I would be down to see it, because again, just for me, seeing Nick Cage do Dracula was just, that was totally worth it. And Nicholas Hoult in this, like, I know that this isn't going to be like huge. Obviously, Hollywood isn't going to look at this and be like, that's our guy. But it just really shows like the versatility that he has as an actor. And, I got to see him in more of a major role. I just think it paid off, and I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go higher. I'm going to actually go a 10 out of 12.
Damn! Yeah. Just somebody who didn't even want to see it!
No, I know. Well, because, okay, and here's my thing. First of all, I just have to say, no to a sequel to this. Period. This is a perfect standalone movie. No, this is a perfect standalone movie. Yeah, right. I would love to see Nicolas Cage as Dracula again, but this was a perfect standalone movie. Like, there's no reason to do a sequel. And I don't even think they really left it open for that. Because it would be a completely different aesthetic. Anyways, whatever. And two, you're right. Nicholas Hoult, like, I think he's just such a great actor, and so versatile, and so he has physicality, and he's a damn fucking good looking dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's a really good actor. Yeah, he kind of can probably fall into the rut of like playing the stammering dude.
Yes,
a lot in the way in Jack Quaid can.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
But that's not entirely bad. I think you can always do something really, really good with actors who can do that. Yes, because there's not very many who can do it convincingly.
Yes, absolutely.
But I wasn't expecting much. It did look really good. It's just kind of one of those things that I wasn't sure if I wanted to rush out to go see it, or if I was just wait for it to come out on streaming. But it was, like you said, hour 33 minutes, short, straight to the point. I don't think it dragged at all. I think the pace was actually perfect. It just kind of keeps going. You're getting the story. There was no filler.
Yeah, there were just some moments for me that were...
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of feel like it could have gone maybe 5-6 minutes longer.
Okay.
No more than that. Like just a little bit. Again, I really liked Awkwafina's character, and I think she was really endearing and kind of weirdly cute. Like, I don't know. It's not weirdly cute. It sounds weird that I'm putting it that way. But like, she was just so cute and like endearing in this one, and I didn't really like her before, and then we saw Shang-Chi and I kind of warmed up to her, and now I'm kind of like really liking Awkwafina a lot. And then I just find her a little bit abrasive, and she's kind of got that loud party girl vibe, and I don't really dig that. And Nicolas Cage, of course, was just like, what to say? Like, he was just great. Like, he chewed the scenery, he chewed every line of dialogue, and it was awesome.
It was. I mean,
it was
great.
Like, just down to brass tacks, it was hilarious.
Yes.
Like, the whole way through.
Yes.
And that's kind of like where, like, my one reel down with this, I mean, 2 real downs was, like, again, the blood inconsistency about them, like, spraying blood everywhere, but, like, you only see it spraying, but it doesn't hit anything, apparently. Just kind of goes off into the ether. And then the action sequences, it's just kind of not my thing. That one-man army, thing of like, you know, the first fight scene is him in a not the first fight scene is him against
the hunters.
The hunters. Yeah, that's right. In the very fucking beginning.
Yep.
So actually the third, but the first big one that's like him against like an army of dudes is the one in the bar.
Yes.
And he's John Wicking everybody and and just kind of like kicking up a shotgun's gonna be shot at him, but he happens to flip open like a tray that blocks it. And like that, like, all right, no, never, no. It's just not. It's not believable in any way, shape, or form. Again, my action heroes are like John McClane, Dirty Harry, like who get hurt in the fight.
Yeah.
Not just destroy everyone.
Renfield.
Yeah, not Renfield. But which is not that. That's not the character. Again, this could have just been a straight like dark comedy, especially how they were leaning into a lot of the stuff about narcissistic behavior, and especially in relationships and codependent relationships. You could have leaned way more into that than and stripped away the action. And I think it would have been a much better dark, I don't want to say horror, but a dark comedy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like,
yeah, no, dark horror. Sorry. Scratch that. Reverse it. Light horror or dark comedy.
And that's the
you know
thing
what I mean?
too. Yeah, I don't think I really got to touch on the concept of codependency in this movie, but I thought
we don't need to.
I just thought it was done really well. It was okay. I really enjoyed it. I really thought it was well done, and it was clever, and it's something that
it's okay. I'll leave you with this.
I don't think a lot of people explore it.
No.
And so I think it was a good thing to bring it to some attention in the way that they did it.
It's touched on. It's not exactly correct though.
No, I agree.
Not all of
but it's just good to see it explored and brought to the forefront. All right, well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, not in any order specifically. Checking out from the Ritual Chamber. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ritual Chamber. I am Josh, this is Jeff. And
I am Jeff.
And today...
Sorry, that was terrible. That was awful. I don't know why I turned Bo right there.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ritual Chamber. I am Josh and this is Jeff. And today...
Try it again. Take 17.
All right.
You don't need to scream that tough. Or that like hard. Like
T-U-F-F tough.
Yeah, T-U-F-F tough.
Okay.
X-T-U-F-F tough.
Ooh,
tough.
Oof, that's really tough. That's as
maybe
tough
with
as it
3
gets.
and like one's capitalized.
Yeah.
You
I like that.
know what I mean?
I like that. No.
Some sparkles around it. Like it's
one in
MySpace.
So T-U-X, T-U-X,
Oh, dude.
F-F-X.
X, capital X, underscore X, capital T, underscore X, capital U, underscore X,
Ooh,
capital
that's
F,
too much.
underscore
That's
X. I know.